Okay, guys. Yeah, I know I look lovely. I'm like trying to wind down for the day, and Odin had tapped me earlier, and he's like, why haven't you done a video? And he's being real nice about, having multiple god spouses. And I'm like, well, I've like vaguely talked about in articles. People can go read that. He's like, yeah, but that's it. You're really, really vague. And he doesn't talk like that, but you know what? And I was like, well, for one, for me, it's private. It's nobody's business who I'm married to, but um, I actually just put in God's spousery and I put in a God's name, and I wanted to see what people thought of it. And actually, the one who came up most actually is Loki. Loki like seems to have the most open God spouses, but someone had said, and I didn't catch a name that because it didn't even appear on Tumblr. I know Tumblr is like, oh God, you went to Tumblr, really? Well, it was a place where most people are open, and I just like looked at the wall really shortly, and a quote about Godspousing isn't the only thing like we don't share or something, but it's like the most obvious thing. And I'm like, well, I don't share because I don't need people coming up to me being like wanting to get into a contest over said spouse. And I think a lot of damage has been done to God's spousery because people we've all run into those people that all they want to talk about is the intimate stuff, and I'm like, ugh, no, please. I'm like, if you have a physical partner, if you have a flesh and blood partner, and you two decide together that you are so enthusiastic about your love for one another, you want to go be on an amateur adult site, that's up to you. More power to you. God's bless you. But when you're related to, when you have that intimate relationship with a god or goddess or spirit, whomever you have it with, I don't know if they gave you permission to tell me this stuff. And if I'm also in a relationship with them, it's like, I really don't want to hear it. It's like, it's not something that interests me. Now, if somebody wrote in a devotional sense, like there are books that talk about intimate relationships with Loki, and they're not sharing it to like brag about it. I think what hurts is when a lot of people, when they share about the intimate side of the relationship, and this is not a video about that, it's they do it as a contest, and whoever gets the most variety or the most often wins. And it's like, that's not how being married or being a lover or anything works. That's really kind of tacky, bad erotica kind of thinking. It's like it's not like some kind of weird obscure anime porn contest or something. That's not how having spouses works. So Odin's like, well, why don't you talk about having multiple spouses? And because I've noticed people have asked in communities, and it seems to be something not too many people answer. But I'm like, well, okay. The short answer is I've always, and you don't have to do as I do, but I've always been, upfront with them if another god wants to have a relationship, and I've been like, well, if everyone agrees, then I could have a relationship with this god. But that said, I also say to the god that's like proposing a relationship, to my knowledge, I've never pursued a god, but the ones that have pursued me have usually had to like track me down and do something really dramatic because I've been like, no marriage, no. So of course I end up with multiple god spouses because I'm like the one that's like, no, I don't want to get married, go away. And they're like, yeah, I want to marry you. And I'm like, no, go away. But where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that. But yeah, I will also tell the one coming in, I'm like, look, if we're going to have this relationship and be in love and get married and live together, and you're going to live here like all the other gods, you have to realize you can't come in and like shove anyone else out. You can't throw a jealous tantrum. And I tell them all that if I'm with so-and-so and we're having the day together and we're chilling, and we don't always go on their like prescribed holy days. I just go on what feels right or who seems to like need some extra love and attention. I'm like, you can't come over and decide you need attention to. And of course they all say okay, but gods are really like cats. They're like, oh my god, so and so is getting attention. Usually they're chill. It's not like jealousy, but they'll say you're giving someone attention. They're like, can I have attention too? And it's really cute like that. It's like, okay, fine. Whatever I told you all about, let me have one-on-one time with each other, and they're like, eh? Because they really don't mind spending the time together with you with another spouse. In my experience, they're fine and they're chill, and you don't have to be spouses. You can just be like lovers or whatever, and they would still be the same way. Now I can't touch on like lovers from personal experience, but from like what I've seen like other people talk about that aren't involved in a marriage, but they have them as lovers. They're usually pretty chill with each other, and they're pretty chill when you're married to multiples. And I'm pansexual and I'm gender fluid, so I have both husbands and wives, and those that would identify as anything, and they're chill with each other. It's not a big deal to them. This whole LGBT thing and all the struggle we humans go about with currently in Western culture about being gay or whatever, they're like, why is it even a problem to you? And for me, I will have the same spouse address me as husband or wife, and I will address them as husband or wife because, to them, it's not a big deal. They really don't. They know if you're biologically male or female, but they also know how you identify, and they know how they identify. And it's often been said over gods that they're all everything. They're in nothing at the same time. That just because we call a god a male doesn't mean he doesn't have a female aspect, doesn't mean he doesn't have hermaphrodite aspect, and so forth and so on. And so, you can have these very complex relationships all with one God. So, I've never noticed them to be jealous or spiteful. You will have, at times, you'll have them say, well, they all know you're going to have a favorite, and you can't help have a favorite. You don't try to play favorites, but you have one that naturally kind of takes, not a leadership role. I've never had any of them say, well, I'm the leader of the other ones. But, since I work so closely with Loki, they're all kind of they're pretty cool if I spend most of my time with Loki. And it's not like they get attention when I have it for them. They all get love and attention. But it's like they kind of understand Loki's going to be the spouse that I'll spend a lot of time with. But I do make, since you have multiple spouses, you do make time for the others. You don't say, well... And that would be one bit of advice. If you're going to have multiple partners or multiple spouses, you don't say, well, this is the new one. This is the one I'm really into now. The rest of you can, back off. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And you do have to consider that. I mean, if you started a loving relationship with a guy and you started, being their lover, or you start being their spouse or whatever, once you add another partner, you don't say, well, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I have this one now. That's not cool. You have to honor whatever vows you made. I mean, if your relationship is naturally over, that's one thing. If it was a casual relationship and it's naturally over, that's one thing. But you don't just say, well, I have this brand new spouse or lover or whatever, and the rest of you have to go. It doesn't work like that. And I've noticed it kind of works out, for at least what I've experienced. Some want that really intense everyday relationship with you, and some are kind of really casual, they kind of go off and they do their own thing, and they're kind of happy you have multiple spouses, because that means they don't have to be up front and center all the time. They kind of being with you for a while and doing that for a little bit, but then they want to have their freedom and go off and do cool things, and they're just really cool, chill, and laid back, and they don't need that everyday attention. Well, they will come up, when they do want attention. They will come up when they want affection. It's not like they wouldn't stay with you and be with you every day if you asked them to. But they're the gods. You'll have the gods that will be more in the relationship. They'll be more chill, and they're still married to you. They're still your lover or whatever. But it's not they're not the ones that are going to be there front and center, and you'll have the ones that are going to be there front and center every day. And don't you even think that I'm going to go off and like find stuff to do because I'm not going anywhere. And they will tell you that. They're like, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what X, Y, and Z you're doing. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm staying right here, and I'm gonna be here every day, and I'm your spouse now, and you have to do things for me. And you're like, yes, dear. And I hope that helps. And the reason why I never like really have done a video on it is not like Odin was like teasing me about. He's like, well, are you ashamed? I'm like, no, I'm not ashamed, but I don't. It's like I don't always name names or anything because I don't need people saying, well, you can't be married to so and so, or getting into a contest, or be like, how could you do this thing? And no, I'm not married to Jehovah or Jesus or anything. No, 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 no. But it's like some of the guys that you find a relationship with, other people aren't going to be really open to you. And I've seen so many people get attacked. It's like, you know, my spouse is like mean the world to me, and it won't be me getting mad that you attack me. It'll be me getting pissed off, excuse my language, if someone attacked my spouse, because I have that really hyper protective, what did you just say about my wife, or what did you just say about my husband? I will kill you. And yeah, so it's like with some of them, I've been public because they were like pushing me to be public. Baron was pushing me to be public, and Loki was pushing me to be public. And the funny thing is, Loki is a really long, complicated story, but Loki is actually first spouse. And then, like, the others came after. But, of course, since Loki didn't tell me it was Loki, I didn't know. And it's like, oh, it's complicated. But, yeah, I don't always name names. It's not being ashamed of them or, like, having to have it secret. It's just, like, being protective of the spouse. And it's like, I don't need these people coming up to me and telling me what they think of my relationship with X, Y, and Z. And, I would not mention it with some because people were like, well, then they get like real angry at the God, and it's like, why? If the God decided to marry someone, why get angry? And the way they explain Godspousing to me is they don't mind if you have multiple partners, because they all have countless partners all around the world. And they have countless lovers, and they have people that they see once and they never see again. And it's like, it's normal for them because they're God. So they're like, as long as you're open and you're not running around behind our backs, we don't care. Just like tell us what you're doing. And so they're usually really chill with something. Now, if you wanted to marry someone with a reputation that even the gods don't like, and they were concerned for you, they might say, hey, I don't want you marrying or having a relationship with so-and-so because they're not exactly known to like humans, and they're not exactly known to be a good spouse or a good lover or whatever. They would step forward and protect you from that. But other than that, they're not going to be protective towards anything else. They might not be thrilled with a spouse's reputation at first, but, you know, as long as they're God in good standing, or spirit in good standing, so to speak, they'll be fine. But if they're like a God that's infamous for hating women, and you're a woman, or they're like a God infamous for hating whatever, and you're whatever, then yeah, naturally the spouses you have are going to be like, hey, why would you even be attracted to so-and-so? How do we know this is so-and-so? And if it is so-and-so, why do they want to marry you? Or be your lover or whatever? And then you have to sit down and have that discussion. I've never had that happen because, like, usually I've been blessed, like, every spouse that's come forward to be interested, the other ones in the same pantheon have actually vetted for them. They're like, so-and-so is fine, you'll be fine, they're a good provider, so forth and so on. And I can tell you that just because you get multiple spouses, and like in some cultures, like in Voodoo and that, it's married, because it's thought that if you marry, like, say 3 spouses, they will balance out each other's energies, and that's actually a good reason to do it. Like, if you marry this role one known for this energy, then you marry this one to balance them out. Now, they all have to agree, and they all have to love you and have an interest in you. But generally, if one is attracted to you, it turns out the others are attracted to you as well, so it's usually not a problem. But, yeah, I hope that helps, and you could actually like go on about forever. But, and I know people are probably like intensely curious about why won't you tell us which gods it is. I think most people can figure it out, and people know Baron, they know Loki. But it's like, I'm really protective, and I would never want harm to come to one of my spouses, and I would never want someone to go, well, I'm not going to work with so and so anymore because you married so and so. And I'm like, no, I don't want that to happen. So I do it to protect them too, and it's like I would never want anybody to, like, out of jealousy's sake, not work with a god. And it's like I've only spoken about the ones that are like very intense about being known in public for whatever reason. I'm like, I don't see why it matters if people know we're married or not, but okay. So yeah, like everybody knows about Baron that read the articles, and of course you guys know about Loki, and that's like, that's what you're gonna get for now. If anyone else would like really be pushing, like, why haven't you talked about us being married? I would talk about it, but usually it's something I'm really private about, and I'm of course very, as you know from the first part of the video, I'm never ever gonna share any gross squicky details with you, because I'm like, that's my business. I wouldn't, if I had a flesh and blood partner, share the flesh and blood partner's activities with me. That's like none of your business. It's like, is in polite society, we don't walk up to our coworker and go, hey, guess what I did with my wife last night? I mean, there are clubs that you can belong to if you want to share stuff like that, but you don't share it. You can, it's perfectly fine to say my spouse is a wonderful lover, or someone is known for having a reputation for being a wonderful lover, or having lots of lovers, and that's fine. That's decent, but you don't need to go any further than that. It's like the saying about, you know, guys having a unit. It's like religion. It's fine to have one. It's even fine to take pride in it, but it's you cannot take it out and wave it at people. So I kind of do the same thing with the godspousery. Like, there's just some stuff I'm not gonna take out and wave around in public. So if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope that helps, because usually when they're pushing with something, it seems like it's really good timing for somebody out there. So I hope that helps. So if you are being courted by another god, and you're already married, or you already have a lover, they're usually fine. Just be open. Tell the ones you're involved with, or the one you're involved with, hey, so-and-so wants a relationship with me, and I'm interested in having a relationship with them. And they should be fine with it. And if they're not, that's something you have to sit down and discuss. But yeah, and you know, then the same rules apply to marriage. You just have to look after more than one. And they're usually fine. They're really chill. Like, if you're serving one, it'll be fine to all of them, but maybe they have a different setup with you, and then you adjust and you have a different setup with them. So I hope that helped, and we could go on all night about whether or not you need to have separate days and blah, 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 but, you know, to each their own. That's what I say. We kind of run things loose and casual around here. Whatever feels right is what happens, and I've never had anyone say, you know, I'm not getting my share of the attention because I'm not getting so and so forth and such not. But that's what works for me and works for them. With you, it might be totally different. So I hope that helps. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to shut the video off, or we'll be here forever. Okay, see you guys later, and blessed to be.